Did the NFL stop the clock to help the Saints attempt to beat the Commanders? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Pat McAfee Show. Horrific day for the officials in the Saints-Commanders game. Multiple instances of clock mismanagement, multiple operational failures, multiple missed calls, and it almost was a complete disaster. We're going to talk about that today. The NFL is in a weird spot because the NFL is and has been the premier sports league in the world. Okay, Thanksgiving Day games, Super Bowl, the NFL bought a day of the week from God. Okay, like they are as powerful as it gets. You throw in the new, over the last couple of years here, legalization of sports gambling, the ease of sports gambling with the apps, and even more eyes and even more dollars are on the NFL more than ever. This stuff can't happen. You cannot have a situation where a blown call is a blown call. Okay, if you Shyla Styles a call, if you Nikki Benz a call, that happens. Don't Google that, ladies and gentlemen. This is a family show. But you cannot have a failure, a breakdown in the infrastructure of clock management, just the time it takes to do what you got to do, the length of games, shortening or lengthening a game that it shouldn't be shortened or shouldn't be lengthened. I mean, if this was the Super Bowl and if this would have went sideways, really, just how it happened. If this was the Super Bowl and you had the third quarter clock runoff, then a missed field goal that gets put back up because of the clock, then the made field goal, then you go to the end of the game and there's clock just snafus all over the place where I counted 4 seconds. 4 seconds didn't run off that should have ran off at the end of the game when the Saints were trying to spike the ball. If that happens in the Super Bowl, you're talking about billions of dollars swinging all over the place. And some heavy hitters and some major players are affected, not infected. This isn't a 28-day later situation.
Shefty, almost a huge screw-up at the end of the Saints-Commanders game yesterday. Spencer Rattler leads the Saints down. They get the ball inside the 5-yard line with less than 15 seconds to go, but for some reason, the referee decided to continue to run the clock. He comes in from the bottom of the screen here, boom, and he blows the play.
All right, play's dead. 11 seconds. All right, watch the clock. Saints have no timeouts. Commanders have 2 timeouts. Watch the clock. Referee's the bottom corner.
Dead. Has the NFL said
boom. All right.
Anything? There he is. What's
going on here?
Clock stops, and it seems as though the clock would have run out if he didn't have that call on the field and the clock stopped at.
It would have been right there. It would have been right there because you could count. I counted 4 seconds that probably should have ran. Saints get that snap off with 4 seconds. Would have been tight.
9 seconds for 2 or 3, maybe even 4 seconds.
Let's
there.
See.
Has the NFL said anything about this? Because this was almost one of the biggest screw-ups that we've seen in a while. Because the Commanders, that was a huge win for them. But after they score the touchdown on this play, they narrowly miss the 2-point conversion. So has the NFL said anything about this kind of snafu at the end of the game?
Yeah, the NFL came out and said he made a mistake. And that's why I despise in the NBA, the 2-minute report, what do they do? And I hate that the NFL does their report because there's no point in the report if nothing happens. What they should do if the report was a legit thing, they should come out there, have the report, and then fire their ass. If they say, yep, Big Frank messed up the clock, he's fired, we wish him the best. Otherwise, don't do the report. Same in the NBA. If a referee calls a foul with no time on the clock in a 1-point game, and whoever they call the foul on goes and makes 2 free throws and flips who wins the game, I don't really care if the NBA comes out and says, yeah, actually, that shouldn't have been a foul. My fault. Unless you're going to take the win out and the loss out and flip-flop stuff and take stats and remove stats and all of that, I got nothing for these reports.
I have not heard from the league about that. If the league is watching and wants to text me something that I could read to you guys, a statement about that particular ending, I'm open to that right now. But I've not heard anything particular about the way that game ended right now.
I don't know what Schefter's talking about. So this is what they said. The covering official mistakenly stopped the clock in that situation. The clock should not have stopped. Was there any consideration of reviewing the stoppage? Was there anything that you could have done after the fact? No, it is a situation that is not a situation that is reviewable. When were you all aware of the mistake? That's all I have for you. The covering official mistakenly stopped the clock in 9 seconds, and it is not reviewable. So that's it. So they came out. They said, yep, screwed up. Not reviewable. Suck it.
That's a interesting, because they're and we saw Hochuli with the pool reporter afterwards say,
yeah,
side judge blew it dead. It's not reviewable. Do you have anything else to say? It's not reviewable. I don't know what to tell you. And then obviously many on the internet, including Warren Sharp, said this is unacceptable. And it's I think what Hochuli was saying is, yes, blowing the play dead is unacceptable. And there should be some sort of conversation here, but there's nothing we can do about it after that happens. And that side judge, I was watching, it was on one of the 4 boxes. It was on one of the 4 boxes on TV. So I didn't fully understand. I'm like, oh, good timeout. Smart stuff, Riz. I was like, Rizzy, what a genius, keeping the timeout all the way for this exact moment. And then all of a sudden, I'm watching the full scramble, panic, and I'm like, and then the clock started rolling again. And I'm like, wait a minute. And then did the side judge think it was call it? I don't.
I'm saying, what would make him?
I have no idea.
It's crazy.
I have no idea what happens there. But I think the spread ended up being 8. So
7.5.
7.5.
8, yeah.
So the spread was 7, or the game there, 2013, that's 7. Could you imagine if that?
Oh man.
Now, let me get in front of this. I think you got to be sniffing the crayons. You got to be huffing the highlighters if you believe that this is fixed. All right? Just going to throw that out there. And imagine if the game is fixed, okay? Imagine if they're like, listen to me. We got to make sure this thing lands the right way, okay? Don't you think that's cutting it a little close? You're going to wait until you're going to let the game play out like this and then wait until that moment? I mean, that's pretty gratuitous. That's pretty serendipitous that was even possible. So, no, I don't think it was fixed. I think you got to be some kind of a damned fool to think it was fixed.
It didn't. I mean, we're at half point off.
There were 7s at some point during the week, but most of the week was 7.5.
But if that swings a cover the other way, oh, buddy.
Wow.
Yeah, y'all ever heard of a teaser? I mean, it did. Yes, it absolutely did. And it absolutely. What about the other clock mismanagement at the end of the third quarter? That you could argue that swung the winner of the game, because if that clock isn't mismanaged and the field goal goes off and they miss it, they don't have 3 points on the board, and y'all can do the math.
Especially if it was a public loss afterwards, as opposed to, if a public wins after this, that actually kind of.
It was a public loss, I'm sure. What are you talking about? I'm sure that I would assume the Commanders were the biggest teaser liability of the weekend. Had to be
like a good play for the NFL to maybe
teaser.
script into their script so people say or stop saying that it's scripted.
Right.
But if this was to swing from one way to another, boy, it would be much louder than it is right now, because I think a lot of people just consider this a who gives a crap game. Commanders get a win, let's move along. It was like they were very close to not. And then also there was a massive flub at the end of that thing from our officials who have been good this year, I think.
So here's the question. If you're the NFL, what do you do? Because you can't. What I don't think the answer is review everything. Games would take 8 hours, okay? If you're going to review clock mismanagement, if you're going to review every first down, review every touchdown, review every pass interference, review holding, review roughing the passer, review targeting, review challenges, you start doing that, it's like you kind of get out of the game. You start disrupting the game a little bit. Can't do that. So do you leave it up to like a robot situation where these refs aren't operating the clock? They aren't operating that kind of stuff. It's kind of being, whether it's AI or whether it's a different system or a different team or whatever. Do you get more refs on the field where they're not doing multiple things, where refs are focused on one thing and one thing only? I mean, I don't understand why we still have like the chain gang. Like, why isn't there a microchip in the ball? Why isn't first downs and touchdowns and why isn't that handled better? Like, I don't think some guy with an index card should be running onto the field with the chain, sticking the index card in between the football and I don't think we should be doing this. I don't think we should be doing one of these where they're coming out saying, "Oh, it's this short." It's like, what is that? It should be a little more exact. I agree with that. Same with baseball refs. Like, why do we have an ump? If a robot can do it, baseball is the craziest, because really think about how insane it is that you can have the same playoff series, let's say the World Series, and if you play 7 games and you have 7 different refs behind a home plate, the strike zone changes just inherently 7 different times. Shouldn't the strike zone be the same? Like, it seems like that's something you would want to be the same. So, I don't know. I mean, I think we're getting to the point now where it's hard to defend having humans or having this element of like variability with some of this refereeing.
Mm-hmm. There's only been a few that have been absolutely terrible. That could have been catastrophic, Schefter.
There have been many instances in the past, and I've heard people complain about it, that, and again, this was not one, but it's an example of it, where a game is decided by a call, a controversial call.
Yeah, like I can't really think of one. Oh, I can. When the Saints were eliminated in the NFC title game by the Rams because of maybe the worst call in NFL history. So that shouldn't happen. You should not have an entire season that comes down to a call. And especially if they get it wrong. And it's just like, hey, that's a good example too, where that call happens. Everyone knows it's the wrong call. Report comes out. Yeah, it was the wrong call. Okay. Well, the Saints are home and the Rams are in the Super Bowl. So really doesn't matter that it was the wrong call.
That influences the ending. And then the result of that game is obviously factored into whether coaches are kept, front offices are kept, players. It calls.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a little different. Not everyone's just tuned into the Saints, as the channel is, but I have a good feeling if the Saints win that game, Darren Rizzi probably gets the job. At that point, he'd be 4-1. He would have beat the Commanders in an absolutely insane comeback. I think they might not draw up the contract, but I think there would be a handshake like, you're the guy next year. Don't worry about it, brother. You're 4-1. We're going to rock and roll. But that's not the case now. So, there's a lot hanging on these games. There's a lot at stake here, whether it's player props, over-unders, teasers, money line parlays. Like, there's so much stuff happening nonstop now with every single game. Like, they can't have these kind of mistakes.
Like that impact jobs and people's security and their lives. And we've seen calls made that have gone the other way, that have hurt people. People lose jobs, and it just shows you how much is riding on these games and how important the officials' jobs are.
Yeah, and we'd like to say the refs, great season. You guys had a great season thus far. Let's finish
Refs
strong.
suck.
And a lot of people are mad at Hochuli for his answer. I think Hochuli was pissed at his guy for even making that.
Yeah.
I think that is probably how. Yeah, Hochuli's not happy
sure.
about that. Hey, you just embarrassed not only me, the game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you what are you doing? Like they said earlier in the video, did he think it was college? Did he think it was a first down stop? Like, you talk about being lost in the sauce. What is the reason to blow the clock dead? And this referee just that's one of those things where you accidentally put the coffee cup in the refrigerator and you're like, damn, am I having a stroke? Like, hey, where's the ranch dressing? Oh, I accidentally put it in the microwave. What? Do we need to take you to the hospital? Like, if you're that referee and you blow that clock dead, it's like, hey man, what happened? It's like, oh, sorry, I got the college game mixed up. You did what? Brother, it's 4 seconds left in an NFL game and you're convoluted of where you are right now. Do we need to send you to a hospital?
In the NFL. So whenever people are like, need more of an answer out of him, I think Hochuli was just giving like the reality. Like what he wants to do, put a stopwatch on,
right?
How long it was stopped for, and then do some math and redo it. Maybe that is the right play. Mm-hmm. But they had 3 seconds when they stopped it. Would that have had 1 second? Was that a 2-second stoppage? Or was it 3 and a hook? Mm-hmm. Because if it was 3 and a hook, that game's over. And once again, the fact that it didn't affect the gambling is the most important part.
So massive.
Yeah, because the money line still remains the same.
Yep.
Because like them not getting the 2-point conversion.
Will they figure out the teaser? Will they figure out in this video that 7.5, 6-point teaser? Will they figure that out?
Huge.
Yeah. Everything that had to happen here, very, very huge for the PR of this shit. But if this would have changed money line, changed cover, changed any of that, it was a public geez.
What was the over? What was the over under on that game?
It had to be more than that.
Yeah, I want to say like 44.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So under hit still.
Under was still hitting.
Yeah. So every bet still hit. If one of them doesn't, so much loud.
I mean, you could tell these hombres aren't gambling.
Okay.
And that's why I think Hochuli is like, get this guy off my crew. Can't have that panicking. Fourth quarter, less than 10 seconds left, full panic. Can't have that.
No.
But once again, to the refs, you guys have had a great year. We'll never forget it.
Right. I mean, the refs
You got to give
sponsor the
them
episode.
some, you know.
Most important time. Yeah, most important. Can't screw up at the end here. Okay?
Can ruin the whole season.
Oh, yeah.
You guys have a couple bets. Start stacking these on top of each other.
Yeah. No.
People are never going to remember that the first 15 weeks pretty good. Just a few that have really been terrible. Nobody's going to talk about it. What have you done for us lately? And it works against a lot of different kickers, punters, quarterbacks, teams, coaches, refs, definitely. But you guys are built for it. We appreciate your service this year. You guys are built for it.
I did a peek-see into the nothing being affected by the Saints and Commanders. The Commanders were the number one most teased team of the weekend.
I mean, it's one of those things where I'm on a different level. There's like 8 people with microphones. There's probably 20 people behind the glass producing the show. Y'all don't gamble? Y'all don't do teasers? Y'all don't... I mean, what's going on here? By the way, if you're doing teasers, DraftKings is the best place to do teasers. They're the ones offering minus 120 on a 6-point teaser nowadays. These cockroaches everywhere else is minus 130, minus 125, minus 140. You know, so it's not sponsored by DraftKings. But if you're looking to do 6-point teasers, if you're a fan of Stanford Wong, and you're trying to maximize your Wong teasers, get on over to DraftKings. Only place that I'm not saying, you know, hey, it should be free ticket to heaven for offering 120, but yeah, that's the only place you can do teasers. If you're doing teasers of minus 135 or 130 or something, you come. What are you doing?
So that would have been affected there.
It did.
Teasers, get out there. We apologize for it. That's crazy that ref made that mistake.
Can't have it. Absurd.
Because like, what?
There's no reason to like if he was reaching for the goal line. You could
maybe he was in. We're gonna have to review.
Well, I mean, again, I know we're talking hypotheticals now, but if they decide to kick the extra point, all of a sudden the over/under is in real jeopardy, right? So, you know,
is it a touchdown? Is it play over?
They got no timeouts. Like
clearly no timeouts, and I assume they're having the same conversations on those little headsets that they all have.
Yeah.
Hey, no timeouts. Remember, here we go. You would think.
you would assume, yeah.
You would think that type of stuff is happening, just like when an offensive coordinator relays into a quarterback, and a quarterback probably has already done this, especially veteran quarterbacks, to the huddle, to the thing. We're going into a 2-minute run. Hey, we got no timeouts, okay? Need to get out of bounds. If the person's inbounds, we all need to get as quick as possible, get the ball to the ref, and then they call their first play. Then they're off and running. You would assume the refs would have the same conversation. Hey, the Saints got no timeouts now going forward. So no matter what happens here, let's make sure we're on it.
You would assume that. I mean, the Zebras, look, they play a huge role. I think it's time for some post-game press conferences. I think they need.
I also think I agree. I think it's crazy we don't know who the refs are. I think it's crazy they don't get reports. They don't have stats. Baseball started to do this. A couple of rogue Twitter accounts grade the baseball referees. So you can see like the percentage of strikes and balls that they missed or whatever. And I tell you what, as someone who tracks baseball every day, when you see some of those like 87% correct, it's like, damn, brother. I mean, would you have a couple cold pops in between innings? God, dog. I mean, you know, I'm not saying you got to be 100%, but there is quite a few games where it's 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, and you're tracking Pirates versus Brewers, and you see one of those 87% come through, and you wonder what the hell is going on. So I think the refs are too coddled. They're too protected. I think they should get graded publicly. I think every single week they should get a grade. I think they should have a running grade for the season. And I think if you're walking into a Monday Night Football game and you've got a crew and you got a couple 75% guys out there, that should be a talking point. And it should be like, yo, eyes are all on Kevin because Kevin has a 74% accuracy rating for this season. So the whole audience is watching Kevin. And Kevin has going to have to answer some questions in the postgame. I 100% agree. These guys should be monitored. These guys should be graded. They should have stats. They should be skewered just like players are. They should have to do press conferences. They should get fired. They should get, yes, I am all for all of that.
Need to be hit with some
But
hard
that's the poll reporter.
The poll report.
No,
That's a journalist.
Is that standing in front of Mark Caboli, getting drilled with the hard-hitting questions?
That's right.
Like, hey,
That's a
what
good
were
question.
you thinking, side judge, when you came in there blowing it dead?
Yeah, Hochuli having to speak for the side judge is certainly something which I think Hochuli was pissed off that his name was even associated with this type of.
That side judge should be sitting at the press conference answering questions. And he should sit there and say, I screwed up. And then they should go to the NFL Referee Association, and whoever the lead is should say, yeah, this isn't good enough. So he's fired. Boom. See ya. Enjoy insurance.
Egregious mistake. We can't review it. Sorry. Don't know what to tell you. Well, why didn't you? What do you want us to do?
I already told you.
As soon as I saw it, we wound the clock as soon as we saw it. And then we all said, if it means anything into our headset, we go, you dipshit. Wow. We tried to punish our own, but in the game, in the grand scheme of things, we talked to Schefter about the ref, the side judge down there in Saints Commanders game. What are your thoughts on that? Guy just panicked? I think he just panicked.
Definitely panicked. Definitely. The moment was too big for him. Like, he wasn't thinking ahead. I mean, it's an NFL game, bud. Like, that's the thing. This happens in, like, middle school games.
Yeah, moment's too big for you, brother. It's an NFL game. Season's on the line. We're week 15. Like, Saints are season on the line here. Jobs are on the line. Hey, my boy, this can't happen. Bad news bears. Moment too big. Okay. Well, go see if Foot Locker's hiring.
Yeah, this is the highest level. That is exactly what everybody's thinking on the same side. I mean, he's very confident, too.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. You saw him say, go back. There's like a quick moment there where he turns sideways. He's on the right side of the screen. And that's where he realizes, oh, no, I think. Wait for it. And boom.
Nope.
Right there.
Yep.
Oh, shit. He just said, literally. What's that? What's going on, guys? How we doing? Oh, no. Oh, shit. I wonder what he was. Maybe he paused it because he was laying on top of him. You know?
Nah.
Is that Wags?
Because they can call a penalty on that now. I know that if you lay on him too long. But what was he thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. Just a little panic. Hey, it didn't change any straight up bets, but it did change some teasers, I guess.
Yeah, only tens of millions of dollars. Who cares? Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Just that's probably more. We're talking, but yeah, whatever.
That's for people.
Yeah, the Commanders were the
Just Darren Rizzi's career. Yeah.
most heavily heavily teased team on the week. So yeah.
So a lot of people weren't thrilled.
Definitely lost their bet.
Hey, it hasn't been like a bad year for these stripes, though, AJ. We talked.
I've had enough about the stripes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think. Crazy finish, no doubt about it. The referee's got to be better. What do you think should happen? We go to the robots. I referee. Elon Musk save us. He's got robots doing vacuuming and stuff, doing household chores. How about we get some robots to officiate these games? All right, get on down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.